Well, you can beat us, you can cheat us, you can put us in jail, but here's your nightmare that will never fail. Like it or not, we're gonna have our pot, and that's sometimes all we got. We're everywhere that you care to observe.
My voice. That's what I'm allowed to do, or was allowed to do up until last week. Now we're at risk.
We're at risk. Well, Obama, you're talking about Obama signing or Congress passing and Obama signing?
They passed the new National Defense Act that they do every year, and inside the act there was a provision that allowed United States citizens to be indefinitely detained without being charged. So basically, they can mow your ass now.
Yep.
And torture.
Torture,
whatever
pretty much
they want.
What the hell they want to do.
And the ridiculous part about it is it's based on the fact that you said something.
Not
you
even
used
that.
freedom of
They don't even have
speech.
to. They don't have to explain.
They don't even have to
explain. No, I'm saying in this case, because of what you said, that would be their situation because you used freedom of speech. Right now, we have that passed. Right now, we also have them trying to pass an Internet Act allowing them to censor the Internet like China does.
Wait, let's get it clear. They don't even have to tell you that they're going to detain you because of something you said.
No,
that's
they can
the
just
part
do it.
of not arresting you, is they don't even have to explain what you did or didn't do as to why you're being detained indefinitely.
The biggest constitutional question that comes to that period is the operation of United States forces on sovereign ground. Sovereign ground being our homeland. It is in the articles of the Constitution. It's before all the amendments and shit written in by our forefathers that indemnibly states that it's not allowed. United States military cannot operate inside and on United States soil. It is a deterrent for foreign forces.
Well, I like how he signed it, even though he swore up and down that he won't be using it.
Well,
Can I take this in a really creepy direction?
Yeah,
you don't sign it into effect unless you think you might need to use it. That's a fact.
Part of the NDAA 2 was that it repealed Article 125 of the UCMJ, the United Code of Military Justice, which prohibited sodomy and bestiality on military bases.
Yeah, but that was probably to get over...
Why? You're gonna...
Why?
They repealed the law specifically taking away the prohibition of bestiality. They went from don't ask, don't tell to can I marry a goat? And it's like, what? I just...
Maybe it's because the bestiality and the sodomy were connected in that one line. Well, they had to do away with the line that included the bestiality because the sodomy was an and thing, because
to me it's just
don't ask,
weird.
Don't tell.
Well, even if that is their reason, that right there just falls into our thing is that we can't do anything in this country when it comes to paperwork without going and trying to slap 50 extra random pieces of paper on it that have nothing to do with the original piece of paper in question.
Well, that's why I feel like there's a couple of things that need to happen. A, you should have to read the whole damn bill before you can vote on it.
Yes.
And B, you should not be able to tack anything onto it. It should be separate,
Which is what Obama promised.
Actually, I slightly disagree
before he was
with that.
elected, he said everyone's going to have time to read it. There's transparent. It's like
not only that.
Blah,
I'm
blah,
sorry,
blah,
but
blah.
we've had especially with things like the health
bill. The aisle.
with the health bill and all that. Yeah, but that right there explains a lot. That honestly, if they sit down and read it, that doesn't mean they understand a word of it. I think they need to be sat down, given time to read it, and given a tutor, someone who's legally taking all the classes to fully understand this. Sit down and explain it to them.
Well, we're supposed to have a government. We're supposed to have a government of the common people, and if the person who's reading it can't understand it, assuming that they've learned how to read, then maybe the bill is ill written in the first place, because the common man should be able to read the laws and understand them. And that's not what we have right now. We have a system where you pretty much have to have, you know, college education to be able to disseminate what the heck is being said.
Well, not only that, I mean, you got to have pretty much a law degree to understand some of the specific terminology that the lawyers come up with nowadays for their agreements. It's ridiculous.
Just a good dictionary.
Yeah, you could always just grab a dictionary and keep it by you whenever you read anything, just to make sure.
Always
or
make
they
sure
could
you
write
have
it
a
in a
dictionary.
simpler, plainer text that's not meant to possibly allow misconstruences and certain misusages later on down the road.
Well, see, a lot of those areas that you're talking about are in earmarks, and they use the vague wording so that if you have a lawyer that knows what the hell the law is, he knows how to weasel around that and either return for more gain or unfair gain if you look at it from you can't afford a lawyer's perspective. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're lucky enough to be able to afford a lawyer, or lucky enough not to have been detained without being arrested, it would seem that you can't do the battles all on your own nowadays.
No.
It's very frustrating. But that brings to mind, I was checking out something that NORML had posted. NORML is the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, and you can follow them on Facebook. What do you think about this? Republicans have been presenting a bunch of bills, especially in the last year, to drug test the jobless and the poor. And in retort to this, the Democrats have been presenting bills to drug test the legislature.
I agree with the Democrats.
I agree with neither.
No, I completely agree with the Democrats as far as testing the legislature, as long as drug testing's going on in the general populace.
Yeah, if we're going to test anybody, we're going to test everybody, especially the higher up positions, not just the lower positions, until we get rid of drug testing altogether. It needs to be one of the two.
I'm also under the aspect that once you legalize or decriminalize drug usage across the board, and I'll make no apologies, you would have cleaner crank, you could administer it like medication. Same thing with cocaine, heroin, opiates. It would all be a controlled process. Not only would you be spending $50 billion to $60 billion less, I think, which is what it's gone, the drug war's gone every year since I became involved, and that was good grief, too long ago.
Well, I personally have a problem with drug testing anybody, and the fact that drug tests are often unreliable. Some of them are, you get your false positives.
Well,
some of them are known to be horrible as far as how many
not just
false
the
positives
unreliability of it, not just the fact that it's been proven that it can affect, that it actually comes out differently for different races, but more the fact that if you take a look at drug testing in most businesses today, it's not used to prevent that evil heroin addict to come in and start stealing Social Security numbers. It's used as a scapegoat. It's used for the employee. It's used as a scapegoat, as a catch net, so they can get rid of people when they want to. It's used when they need to cover their butts with insurance problems. If you notice, that's why it's coming in hands.
It's an insurance racket.
Yeah, it all comes back to the insurance racket.
The whole industry revolves around the fact that insurance requires employers, and certain government contracts too. If you have anything to do with the Federal Aviation Administration, even if it's not producing anything, the entire staff of the building has to pee in a cup. And to my knowledge, and all the research that I've done on the subject, it comes down to a majority of workplace-related incidences are sleep related, sleep deprivation related.
Yeah,
People
or
are too tired.
Too damn tired.
Yeah, or general fatigue in general, whether it's from lack of sleep, whether it's from stress of the work, whatever it may be. It's generally not related in any way, shape, or form to drugs or alcohol. It's normally related
I've been to
everything else.
Work more times completely zoned out because I've gone 48 hours without sleep, 72 hours without sleep. I remember several times in the Navy where it was a 72-hour evolution. There was nothing to it.
Yeah.
And the evolution part went down at night, and you worked all day like it was a no big deal thing. Night fell, and you went right back to work.
Exactly.
Well, I'm of the opinion that if you're using a drug, you should have personal responsibility. And, you know, I remember the good old days when my parents didn't have to think twice about giving me a glass of wine at dinner, or now technically parents still don't. If it's your parent, you know, here in New Mexico, and it's within reason, that's all fine and dandy. But, you know, going to a bar was a family deal. You, the kids, you know, the adults, the grandparents, and you could shoot the pool and have some pork rinds and, you know, teetotal it if you wanted to. And it wasn't a big deal because people were responsible. Now, I certainly don't want to have to fucking go and get a prescription for my addiction. You know, cigarettes, I'm allowed to go to the store as an adult and purchase. But when I was a kid, you could send your kid with the money to go and get cigarettes and bring them back to you. That wasn't a big deal. And
my dad did it all the time. I went to Allsup's. They knew me.
Yeah.
I had a pack of Winstons right there, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
In fact, when I started smoking, I bought Winstons for a long time because it was the only thing I knew how to buy. Or wasn't scared to buy. I was still freaked out a little bit about it.
The thing that surprises me is that instead of having more freedoms here in America protected by responsible people behaving responsibly, i.e. raising your children, talking about, you know, what's good, what's bad, and you know, having the authority over how you run your house, we were getting less and less and less. You know, and I always thought, wow, America is the greatest country because we have so many freedoms and you're expected to behave and be responsible. You know, it's like the drinking and driving deals. Well, there was you know, laws on the book that we didn't need to enhance like drinking and driving. If you were recklessly driving, you could have your license revoked. You could.
Yeah. There was no need to put the drinking and driving on the list. It fell under reckless driving in the first place.
Right.
Under the driving under the influence, it was all put in there as, I don't want to say that as the propaganda list, but it was put as one of those things to give it special attention.
Well, and give them an excuse with Matt Harpin on their asses. Gave them an excuse to increase the police forces. Police equipment.
Ask for
police
extra funding. I mean, I'm not going to say that they couldn't have gotten something good at it, but at the same time, it is one of those things that it didn't need to be done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, nowadays, the general goal has gone from protecting our freedoms to protecting our freedoms by taking away freedoms. Which means we're going in reverse. It's almost like we've reached the top of the hill, and we almost got it over the edge, and then that rock just started sliding right back down again on us.
Well, Jefferson foresaw that. You know? And a lot of things that he wrote after he was in office, and even before he was in office, are highly inflammatory.
Yeah.
But I think apply to today's real-time situation right now.
I think we've already gone off the edge. It's just like Wile E. Coyote, we haven't looked down. So we're still, as long as we don't look down and actually consciously realize our position, it's like...
Well,
exactly.
As a society, I would definitely agree. Some of us...
Well, that's
some of us had the common sense to heed our parents' words and not follow everybody else over the cliff.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm surprised that we've got Republicans trying to drug test the jobless and the poor, and Democrats trying to drug test the legislature, but nobody's saying, let's repeal drug testing altogether.